Hey, YouTubers and friends. Pardon me, I'm a little stuffed up and sick for a couple of days, but we have a totally awesome return guest, Jason the Quarter Hoarder himself. If you guys are into detecting, you definitely know who I'm talking about, and if you don't, why not? But with no further ado, let me get over to the other set and we'll BS a little with my partner in crime, Toledo Jess, and get on with the show. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Of Tuesday Night Hangout Live. Tuesday Night Hangout Live. It's Tuesday Night Hangout Live. It's Tuesday Night Hangout Live. With your hosts, Ed Marvin, Toledo Jess, and Dano. Tuesday Night Hangout Live is a Flash in Your Pan production.
And I see so many people in our live chat. Totally rad. You brought all the best people with you tonight, Jason.
Just wait. You haven't seen it all.
Just wait.
Are we on?
Yeah, we're on.
Oh, dude, we just got raided by the dudes over at Jersey Hunters. They just totally raided us, man.
Oh, cool. We had a flash raid from Audra and Rage?
You bet. Man, they just come storming in.
Hi, girls. You dudes rock.
Everybody, you'd give everybody that I know $50 each if they came in.
Checks in the mail.
You gotta do it. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Oh, yeah. And look what we have here. We have our first. Oh, yeah. Super chat. Super chat from our friend Iffy Signals. Thank you very much, Iffy. I'm
nice.
Iffy Signals. Add you to the list.
I saw some of the videos he put out with the Simplex. I love my Simplex and the Amphibio. He's doing some good stuff over there, Iffy Signals. If you're not familiar with him, make sure you check him out.
I know Iffy Signals. Thanks for the super chat. We have
it's a viewing audience, you know.
Mike, M.A. Lyman 24. Thank you very much for the super sticker. You guys rock. Totally.
Mike's a cool dude. Yeah, Iffy Signals, first name. I don't want to just call him Iffy all night. I don't know if anyone knows Iffy's first name, but
I don't know Iffy's first name.
I only know everyone's channel name. That's all. I know people's channel name.
That's the same with me, you know, and that's because I'm reading it. Let's stop and say hi to some of these people. I mean, we got our regular guests are in here. Our regular chat room guys are in here too. We need to say hi to them too. Mr. Lodak, world's greatest moderator. What's up, Sharon? I see Dwight Wooten and Yukon Cornelius is with us tonight.
Yeah.
My sister.
Brian was in the house, and your sister and I were talking earlier. We have to get more siblings in.
Yeah.
I doubt if my brothers show up. Our friend from the Great White North, J3B, Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.
I get to know these people, and then we learn their names. And personally, I don't really give a flying beep who calls me by my real name here or anywhere. I'm putting myself out there as it is.
No, I think my name is right there.
And if someone knows what to do, they can get it anyway.
Right.
So,
there's baby girl mining and Chrissy Outdoors and Cal O is with us tonight. Luke Duke, Susan Hamilton.
Nice name change, Peener. SJ Mix Adventures. How are you doing, girl?
I haven't seen her in a while.
Diamond Miner Ivans. Harry Curry. A lot of regulars and a lot of new faces and some that come in once in a while.
Some of my dig buddies I saw in the chat. Ed, I got to give a shout out Doug Johnson, who is my main dig partner, Dog Tag Doug, Mexican Doug, Doug's Bunny, Crocodile Doug Deep, the Hazmatador, Doug Johnson in the chat. And my buddy Leroy, I also dig with in the chat. I got to give shout outs to some of the team that I go with all the time.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, I hear you. You got to. I mean, they're your followers, your friends, the people you dig with, you know.
Hey, the first year I went digging, I was by myself. And as much as I liked it, it's 10 times funner when you're out there with people you like and friends sharing stuff.
Yeah.
Love my crew. Love them.
Yep. See, we got Terry Curry here. And
we got another super chat.
Oh, yeah. First timer here, Miss Kathy.
Thank you very much.
Barb Connell, did you get
Roy, Ray Moore, thank you.
Mark Thomas, Chaos Divers. I know a lot of these people, Ed.
Oh, yeah, Chaos Divers. Jacob's a great guy. We were just texting each other before the show. He's like, have a great show tonight. And I'm like, oh, yeah, Jason's a really cool guy. I know it's going to be a good time. And now that we have this one problem pretty much solved. If any of you remember the last time Jason joined us, we pretty much.
It was good for the first 45 minutes. And then, you know.
Bam.
Yeah, but hey, it's live entertainment for you.
You never know.
Yeah, that's right. Bob Dib's here. We can start the party now, he says.
Yeah, Bob, you've been MIA
for the super chat.
You've been MIA for a little while. We've been wondering where you were. Thank you very much, Nick Molnar, for the super chat. I'm gonna have to. I took off all the names on the super chat list up here for 2019, and boy, I'll be putting them back on here ASAP. I appreciate
North Jersey Detector, digging with Deej.
Deej is from above the border, Michigan. Great gal.
I met Deej up at the Pound the Ground event, and I don't know. I didn't see you there. I guess you didn't go, but
no.
It was like a Woodstock of all the diggers. And,
yeah.
Man, I met so many cool people there, and had an awesome. I think the whole weekend I dug like 3 holes. I was just.
It sounds like us at Gold Rush days here in Ohio.
Right.
We're so busy like networking and being social butterflies, kind of.
That's
with people we don't see but once a year.
Right.
Nice to meet everybody. I mean, who knows if that'll ever happen again. The stars aligned and everyone came out. It was awesome.
SJ, thank you so much for the super sticker, girl.
And then there's D and D Beach Bandits. Wing TV. How's it going?
Hey, Vicky.
Did I say hi to Chrissy? I did, didn't I?
I think so.
Okay,
Hey, Barb Connell. And she's a regular during my auction. She's awesome.
Yeah.
And what she does for kids every Christmas is outstanding. And we have Clodhopper Scotty from the UK. I'm sure Kimmy's asleep and he's editing.
And listening to the show.
Yeah. Hey, Sherwood. Ambient girl, good seeing you.
Hey, Digger Digaz, how are you?
Yeah, nice crowd tonight.
Yeah,
Nice crowd.
lots of new names. That's cool. It's always
Definitely.
fun.
Yeah.
So here we are,
Another Tuesday night.
another Tuesday night,
And
another guest.
Our return guest,
Yes.
Jason the Quarter Hoarder, the one and only.
Yes. You know I love you, Ed, because I'm missing the all-time great Jeopardy championship. To go on the if that's not love for a fellow treasure hunter, I don't know what it is.
That warms my heart, brother. That warms my heart.
I always, when I hear Jeopardy, I always think I lost on Jeopardy. Weird Al Yankovic.
Jerry Ward. Sorry, Sherry.
Jeopardy's one of those shows, Ed, where you watch it, and at the end of the show, you feel like a total moron because you knew like 2 answers the whole show. But then right after it, Wheel of Fortune comes on, and then you feel like you feel like a brilliant guy because
Einstein.
And it's the perfect scenario. If it was flipped and Wheel of Fortune was on first, you'd be miserable all night because you ended on a terrible note.
Did you ever take the test for Jeopardy? To be on Jeopardy? Did you ever try it?
Why would I embarrass myself like that?
Well, no, seriously. Just to see how
Michael Jordan? No.
I took the Jeopardy test once. That was, you're right. All it shows you is how stupid you are.
Yeah, I mean, I know my limitation. Here's the thing that I've always done my whole life. I only compete in things that I think I might have a shot. Compete in something and just totally embarrass myself.
That's
and
like
well, fortunately, you can do it online, so nobody sees it but you. So
even if I were to pick the categories, I'd still, you know what I'm saying? I'd still lose.
Oh yeah, because for the entry level into that game show, the questions they ask are so obscure that you would have to be a total trivia nerd to know it. You know,
I wouldn't be able to do it. And, yeah, Wheel of Fortune's more my speed. You know what I'm saying? I can probably. I like that press your luck game where you just got to say, no whammy, stop. Like,
right. Yeah.
Don't ask me trivia questions. I don't even have smart friends that have a good lifeline. All my friends are the same as me. No offense.
No offense, friends.
I have no lifeline.
Oh. So I just watched your video you put out yesterday or today?
Today. Yeah, today.
Today. Right. You put one out every Tuesday.
What did you think? Do you do any metal detecting yourself?
I do very little. I have a couple of metal detectors. Well, I have one. My wife's got one. I'm trying to get her into it, and we'll get into it. But I've got a Ace 350, and she's got the AT Pro. But one of the things that she was asking me was, how do you get permission to get on these places? How do you do that? And I go, I don't know. Go up and ask. I imagine. But that's what I've heard. But I guess you just have to have that personality to be able to go up and.
Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you a secret. Not many people know. Before I got into metal detecting and YouTube and all that, I was a fairly introverted guy. I kind of avoided people. I was kind of quiet. And doing this hobby sort of made me have like a personality switch. Because if you don't talk to people, then you don't get new permissions all the time. You got to talk to people. When I first started and I'm detecting, your headphones are on, and when someone's looking at you, you can feel their stare. I would pretend I didn't notice, or if they're calling me, I pretend I didn't hear them because I didn't want to, talk to them.
Right.
And then I had an epiphany, and I said, you know what? The more I talk, the more doors can open. And then now, like if someone walks by and they even glance at me, headphones come down, I walk over and
You're attacking.
yeah, you got to. You got to. It's not like fishing where you can have a hot fishing spot and go back every week and still catch more bass.
Right.
Once you protect an area, that area is done. So you're always looking for new spots, and it's challenging. And you know, when people ask me all the time, you know, what's a good machine? What's a good machine to get? I say, well, think about where are you going to go? Because everyone gets a new machine. They detect their house, they detect their mom's house, maybe the local school, and then it sits in a closet and they sell it at a yard sale. Where are you going to go? You got to think about those things. So yeah, I mean, you know, early on it was a lot of door knocking. Me and my early partners, the Nick Nibbler, a lot of knocking on doors. You get an occasional no, but try to be friendly. Then I picked up Doug Johnson. Doug Johnson is a permission magician, we call him. He's got that friendly, inviting face where, I mean, you know, he could knock on Osama bin Laden's door and Osama's going to, you know what I'm saying? Doug just has that back.
That being the case, let's say you can go up and you don't have a problem talking to people, and you know you can knock on doors and that. Is there like something that turns people off or turns them on more? Like if you go up and say, "Oh, I'm looking for history," or "I'm looking for coins," or "I'm looking for jewelry," "I'm looking for Hot Wheels," or, you know, whatever. Does that fit into it?
Yeah, it's all in how you word it. I mean, when you're talking about a private residence and people live there and you want to detect and dig in their yard, it's well, first of all, you got to have a friendly face right off the bat. You got to look inviting. You got to look the part. And that's what Doug is great at. Doug, like I said, big smile, friendly. We try to be super friendly. And there's certain words that I try to avoid. You know what I mean? I try not to ever say dig or hole. I really try to emphasize the history of it. I don't even say that I look for old coins because that implies that I'm looking for valuables. I try to steer the conversation that it's more of trying to save old things that would rot away than it is looking for valuables and things like that. Here comes my wife.
So basically, you try to steer them towards the historical value of what you're doing.
Absolutely, and it's not like I'm lying. I mean, I could find something that's worth a nickel, or I could find something worth $1,000. And you know what? Either way, it's just going in my display case. I'm not at the pawn shop selling it. For me, it is. That's what it is. If it has extra monetary value, well, that's a bonus. But
right.
Me, I like finding it. I like cleaning it up. I like putting it in the display case if my wife lets me put it in the display case. So I'm not lying. I'm not, but I try not to let them think that we're looking for valuables in the yard, because then it creates that gray area. You know, then they want to cut. So, and believe me, I mean, if Doug's in here, we've probably detected, I don't even know how many houses. I lost track a long time ago. Never once did a homeowner ever take anything from us, ever.
Really? Do you offer it?
We've given them stuff, but they've never said, let me see what you find. Oh, I'll take that. Never. Not that I want to jinx myself, knock on wood. It's all how you present yourself. It's all how you steer the conversation. And, you know, we try to get at the point where they would almost feel guilty taking it from us, because you think I'm kidding. There's a real knack to it. And I wish I could put it in words. I can't really describe it. You'd have to you just got to kind of live it, and you kind of know where to go. But it just comes with experience. The more you do it, the more comfortable you are. And, you know, you get comfortable with it. You start to develop a feel.
Right. Like I noticed you're pretty comfortable in front of the camera, watching your videos. That took
My first year and a half of YouTube videos, you never saw me. Never.
It takes a while. We
It does.
both know Jason, Desi, and
I realized, I said, you know what? How weird is it if I were going to watch a show on TV? How weird would it be if I never saw the person doing the show? Like I said, you almost have to show yourself because people want to make that connection.
Right.
They want to see who's talking to them. They want to put a face to the voice. And also you start to become, they know who you are, right? From the
there's that sticky subject.
Well, no, it's not a stick. I mean, it's the truth. YouTube, I don't even know how many detecting channels there are. Let's say there's a couple thousand of them. You got to do something to make yourself stand out. Every single channel, everyone, if you watch it, you're going to see good finds. Everyone. No one's going to put a video up of bubblegum wrappers. Everyone, you're going to see good finds, whatever good finds are. So it's the little things you got to do to differentiate yourself somehow. Mine, we try to do a lot of humor. We try to be funny. Sure, we have good finds, but who doesn't have good finds? That's what the whole hobby is. You're showing your good finds.
Right.
You got to find a way.
It's not like you're going out looking for pull tabs, right?
Right. And if I give you a pull tab, you know what I mean? If you watched our videos, you'd think we're the greatest detectorists ever because you only see good finds. But believe me, for every one good find you see, I'm not showing you the 100 that went in the trash bag. You know
right.
But that's what it is. No one wants to see that. So you try to show the best stuff. You try to have, you try to make the video fun, enjoyable, and however you're going to do that, you got to try to keep people's as best you can.
Yeah.
I've got so many videos backlogged that waiting to come out, but I try to keep to one video a week because I don't want people to get sick of my face. I put a video out every day, like, oh, this guy again. So I pace it one video a week. I try not to be out there too much. That's my knack. For me, this is just a hobby. It's not like my living. Make your living, you got to do it different. You got to, splash all over Facebook, and you got to put videos out.
Right.
I have let me interject here for a second, guys. This hobby thing, sorry, but it kind of gets under my fingernail like a sliver. And now, would you call it really just merely a hobby, or would you call it more of a lifestyle?
Well, I mean, I guess that you're talking about semantics, Ed. I mean, when I say hobby, I'm not saying hobby is like some lowbrow thing. I say hobby because I go to work every day. I got a job, 9 to 5. I got a family. I got a mortgage. I got car payment. I got all those things. So I do this on the side.
Right.
But to me, that's what hobby is. When you got free time, you do the thing you like. I mean, you could say it's a lifestyle. Do I think about it every day when I'm at work? Absolutely. So you could say it's a lifestyle. I guess it depends on the semantic of the word. But when I say hobby, I'm not trying to demean it by making it seem like, I'm flicking marbles in the street. I mean, it's a hobby I think about all the time, but I only have so much time to dedicate to doing it.
I read you loud and clear, Jason, brother. I just have to be the devil's advocate sometimes on that. And I guess it don't really, in the prospecting community, especially out west, it could mean a great deal in our rights to prospect on public land.
That becomes a legality term too.
Right.
And I understand that's why you feel that way about it, because you want to keep it that way, because that's what gives us our rights.
Right. Yeah. If I claim to be a hobbyist or a recreational, I lose my right to prospect under the 1872 Mining Act.
Oh.
And if I'm a prospector and claim to be a prospector or a small-scale miner or a miner, I regain that right. I
Okay.
keep that right given to us by Congress.
I got you.
So the semantics does make a difference in certain situations.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, I've
You
never
know,
had it come up. Yeah,
right? Because that's because like Ed said, has to do with mining laws. Uh, with metal detecting, that's a different type of treasure hunting, more of a modern thing. So that wouldn't apply to you.
Yeah, maybe not. We never do public land. We only do private land. So we've never had any, anything to do. But I mean,
But if you were to do public land, then that would make a difference there too.
You might be right. I've never really.
You know, I don't know. We'd have to ask somebody who does that in public lands, like Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, you might be right. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm just throwing crap out there to see what sticks to the wall. You know, it's just
you know more about that than I do.
But
like
with
to mean it, I love it. Yeah, I mean, you could say it's a lifestyle, but to me, lifestyle would imply that I go to my 9-to-5 job in my dig boots with a shovel strapped on my hip. You know what I mean? Like,
and that is your 9-to-5 job.
You know, Jason, I was doing a house up in Scott, Ohio, really small old farmhouse type, and I had my Knox 800 in my truck. So I go to the owner, hey, mind if I metal detect your property when I'm not working? And she's like, oh, sure. So I'm like, beep, 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 beep. Didn't find nothing any good. A lot of junk, a lot of square nails, and
in your chat now, I see Nickel Nibbler, who is he's my longest time dig buddy. Now Nickel Nibbler, he does a lot of public land. He's a big fan of towns have these things called open spaces, which are kind of like reserved areas you're not allowed to build on or do anything with. And he does a lot of those open spaces, so he knows a lot more about public lands than I do.
So it'd be like between we're doing
in
front of someone's house where it's the parkway strip, not on their side of the sidewalk, where it's actually city property between the sidewalk and the street curb.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I actually get that question a lot emailed to me.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing that I understand about it. Here in Toledo, I don't know if it's statewide, but in Toledo, the access area, which is the area between the road and the sidewalk, does belong to the property owner, but the city has access rights to it. In other words, they have the right to put poles up, trees up, sidewalks on it, but you still pay the taxes on it, and it's still part of your deed.
Well,
that's why you can be sued. That's why you can be sued when somebody falls on your sidewalk or trips on your lawn, between that spot.
To maintain it in New Jersey, I don't know who owns that. I'll tell you what, I get emailed that a lot, and honestly, when it comes to detecting that strip, I would personally never detect that in front of someone's house
without permission
on the door, because I feel like it's rude, because whether he owns it or not, that guy mows it, that guy maintains it.
Right.
I have to agree with you there, Jason. Yeah.
I wouldn't do it. I'd go knock on the door and try to get the whole yard, including that strip.
Yeah.
I've hit bus stops in those strips.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Now I can see how just going to ask someone, hey, mind if I just detect your parkway strip? And that could say, well, thanks for just not doing it. Are you interested in detecting my whole yard?
That might work. I usually go for the whole thing, and then I'll do the other way. I go for the whole thing, and then maybe wean down to that. I wouldn't go with that, and then hope they come to me and say, "Why did you detect my whole yard?" that's one thing about Doug. I'll say this is he'll drive through a neighborhood of all these old houses and he'll look for the biggest, totally unobtainable house that nobody would knock on because you'd think this guy's never going to let me hunt it. And that's the one he goes to. And he gets it 99% of the time. He goes for the unobtainable. So, you'd be surprised. Sometimes you'll see a house, beautiful manicured lawn. Everything is perfect.
Yeah, see, and I would try to avoid that.
You know what? Go knock on his door. You never know. What's the worst he can say is no. And
right.
It was a no anyway before you asked. So
right.
But see, that's the thing. I see a manicured lawn and I don't even want to go near it.
Most people don't, and that's why we clean up at those spots. You can protect the manicured lawn. You just gotta take your time. You gotta cut nice, clean plugs.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it seems to me someone with a manicured lawn like that would have a lot of reasons for you not digging in their yard.
Well, you can say that about anybody. Anybody really has a lot of reasons to say, "Hey, no, I don't want you, a stranger, digging in the lawn." I mean, if you step outside, it's such a bizarre request. You know what I mean?
Right.
I know someone comes to my house trying to sell me anything. The first thing I'm thinking is, get this guy out of here. You know what I mean? So,
dude, yeah.
It's a tough sale. Now, I don't say it's a tough sale, but it's a tough pill to swallow at first. It's a tough pill for some people that have been doing this hobby for years. They don't want to go talk to people. They're just not comfortable with it.
Right.
And it's hard, but I really think if you want to consistently find the best stuff, private land, the only way you're going to consistently find it, because if it's public land, it's probably been hit a lot of times already. It's going to probably have a lot of trash because Joe Schmo public walks through and flicks his cigarette, trash on the ground. Private land, normally most people, if you came home from work and there was a beer can laying in your front yard, you're probably going to pick it up and throw it in the trash. So most private property is clean. It's cleaner than public land. And you're going to find, I call it virgin ground. You're going to find, a large variety of stuff. And, on the East Coast where we are, there's a never-ending supply of 17 and 1800s properties in every town, in every county, for hundreds of miles in every direction. So it's just a matter of, finding one and knocking, catching them, and trying to get on. In fact, when this show's over, I got to call Doug. He might have got a killer spot today. He went this incredible 1730s house. So,
wow.
We'll make our plans for this weekend.
Cool.
Doug, give me a thumbs up in the chat.
Is that him in the chat room there?
He's in there. I don't know. He said earlier he's a slow typer. So if I ask him a question, it might be 20 minutes for the thumb to come up.
We have a few questions I pasted in the Zoom group chat. Tim, why do you like buttons so much?
Oh, that is a tough question. I didn't really care about buttons for years. It wasn't until like a year or so ago, I really started looking at them and all the markings on the front, the back, and I don't know what it is. I can't explain it, but I like buttons maybe more than coins now, Ed. I am a button fanatic. When we were
there's a lot of variations, right?
There are, and I just love them. When we were detecting this weekend, all the guys, we've been at this killer spot, and I don't want to ruin my videos coming out, but records for most coppers in a spot, most silvers in a spot, most Spanish silvers in a spot. If I told you how many buttons we dug, you'd crap your pants right where you're sitting right now. It was unbelievable. And I was going there on the third, fourth day, just hoping to find buttons where everyone else is like, oh, I hope I find another real. Oh, I hope I find more.
And you're looking for buttons.
Oh, I hope I find more buttons. So I can't explain why. It's just one of those things where I love the buttons. I find them and I just stop right there and I clean it. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh, let me get back. It's gonna be dark. I don't know. I can't explain it.
You find some pretty cool buttons and some of your coins are awesome, but you also find some really neat old toys I've noticed too.
All the old toys. I'll tell you a secret, Ed. I'll tell you a secret. Well, I guess I'll tell everybody a secret. Everybody finds old toys and stuff like that. When I was first starting off the channel, I said, man, how am I going to compete with these channels that find these incredible coins that I'm just not finding, in the early days before I realized, where to knock and all that. And I said, well, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the things that are interesting, toy cars or whatever, or I found a rusted pair of old scissors like from the 30s or whatever. And I realized that, that was, if I thought it was interesting, because I was new to the hobby. When you're new to the hobby, everything's interesting.
Everything's interesting. Oh,
Right.
look, a rock.
You're like, sun-kissed, I don't have this one, because you're new. And it's like, you're still in that magical phase where you can't believe that this machine is just sniffing these things out. So I was showing these things and I was excited about them because it was exciting to find those things. And I think if you're excited about something in your video, I think the people watching are going to be excited because they live vicariously through you in that moment.
Right.
I've watched people find the same toys I found, Tootsie toys, and the same things I found, and it's almost like a side note. There's a Tootsie toy. All right, come on, where's the coins? And I'm like, holy cow, look at the yellow paint creeping through. I mean, if you're excited, they're excited. If you think it's a waste of a dig, then they think it's a waste of a dig. You know what I'm saying? How do you expect someone else to care? You don't even care.
Right.
Definitely. I have to agree with you there.
So I love all the goofy stuff we find. I do. I love anything that's interesting, anything we never found before. What it is. I'll show some weird little misshapen thing over like Indian pennies, because how many Indian pennies can you see? I've probably showed 500 of them over the years. If you've seen one Indian penny, you've seen every Indian penny.
Right.
You've seen every mercury dime, And I'm not saying I don't like them, but from the audience perspective, how many mercury dimes am I going to show in one video where you're like, oh, another one. Yep, there it is. There's another one. You got to show things.
To me, the interest stops after you say it's silver. Okay, it's silver. Cool. What's next?
Right, that's what
What's next? What's the next thing you got?
Found silver.
Keep it moving.
That's why, like in the coin area, my big thing is trade tokens, hard knocks tokens,
I love
Civil War tokens and stuff. To me, they're all different. There's more history to it, and in my opinion, than a mercury dime or a Indian head penny. Sorry, Barb. She loves Indian head.
I know. Did Barb get one yet? I know she was waiting for the longest time. I don't know if she got one. But yeah, I mean, I love coins like anyone else does. But my coins, when they come home, they, for the most part, they go in a jar, and that jar sits on a shelf, unless it's a really cool coin, like anything like large cent or earlier will go in my display case. But anything large cent or newer, and I could care less if it's silver, in the sense that, it's a cool find, but it doesn't, like, I don't wake up at night and want to go downstairs to look at that silver dime again. You know what I'm saying? I'll go down and look at Chris. Can you go down and get that pommel head horse for me?
Ooh, treasure porn.
I'm gonna have my wife. But sometimes in the middle of the night, I'll walk down to my display case because I just want to look at some of the interesting things I got. And there's things in my display case, like I don't have mercury dimes or even barbers in there, but I have like metal condom tins from the 30s because it was interesting, and you don't see them every day. So The Flying Eagle, I will say that. Someone said the Flying Eagle. The Flying Eagles are in my display case. That's one of the exceptions after the large cent. And
Yeah.
trimes, if it's something unique enough, you know what I'm saying? You know, we don't find a lot of trimes or Flying Eagles. So those I don't count. But all my display case, anything three-dimensional just looks awesome. Like, look at all the stuff behind you, all that stuff. You know, coins just don't display well, especially when they're in those ugly 2x2 white things that everyone staples. Nobody looks at that. Nobody, when people come over to my house, nobody looks at like pages and pages of 2x2 white things. It just loses all meaning. Now, if you can just stand them up and put them in three-dimensional cases, well, that captures your attention. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, it's kind of like my shed wall. You know, I have shelves of rocks and bottles and
That stuff's awesome. Yeah.
little things I found.
People are drawn to it.
But everybody likes gold.
Nick Marvin, what? No, look at this thing, Ed. I'm going to show you. I don't show a lot of finds in the live stream.
Here, let me pin you so you're bigger.
Make me big. Make me big. Make
him big.
Baba.
I'm going to drink the blue liquid. Make me big, Ed. Am I big? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. We're big.
All right. If you can see this thing, Ed, I don't know if you can see it or not.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I dug this about maybe 6 months ago. I thought it was a brass cane topper. And what it turned out to be is a Civil War Union officer's saddle pommel. This would go cover their saddle, and they would hold on to this as
that's their horn.
Well, whatever you call it. I don't know anything about horses, but you know, you hold on to that.
Right.
And this thing, Ed, and I don't even know what it's worth. It could be worth a rusty nickel for all I know. I would trade this over every silver coin I ever found. Maybe not every one, most of them. To be able to find something like this, because I just look at this thing. If I'm watching TV, I look up and I see it, and I just smile. You know what I mean? And I've probably dug 200 mercury dimes, and besides the very first one I ever dug, you know, they lose meaning after a while. You know what I'm saying? It's like another, you know. And we're
look at the difference. Look at the difference between the two objects. A dime gets made, gets spent, gets lost. That horn there was specially made for someone, and I'm sure it wasn't made out of a machine.
No.
And it was used and probably used for quite a while.
And where did he lose it? Was it during a battle, a scrimmage?
Right. And then, yeah, there's a lot more imagination to that.
There's a lot more.
You
know, that goes back to you know, with a homeowner talking about, you know, valuables and stuff like that. I mean, something like this, I would cry if they took it from me.
Oh,
but
I bet.
If they took all the coppers I dug and all the silvers, I don't really care. What am I going to do with them? I'm going to come home. I'm going to stick them in the jar on top of the other ones, and I, you know, I would never notice. But I love the relics, and that's why I love the buttons too. They're all different. They all display well, and it's just you know, it has the hobby means nothing to me as far as monetary value of the finds. Nothing. It's all about the interesting things, putting them on display. I look at them every time I walk by a display case, and it makes me smile. I think of the day, the people we were with, the cool things we found, and it makes me smile. And that's what it is. And you know, you don't get that by looking at another mercury dime unless you never found one.
Right.
But then,
hang on a second. You guys in the chat room, if you want to ask a question, either tag Ed or myself so we can see it. Because the chat goes by kind of fast and we can't catch everything. So if you want us to ask a question,
coins. Some people
or you can tag. Are you in the chat room, Jason, or no?
Yeah.
It's up, but I'm only half watching it.
Oh, okay. All right, that's fine.
Or tag
one of us.
Uh-oh.
Or tag.
Run for the hills is in the house.
I saw. I was waiting for you to say
I took his loose box down, but sorry, buddy, I didn't use it over the weekend. I used the Green Mountain Gold Trap, but I had it there on the bank waiting to be used, but it was up there by itself in the cold. Sorry, bro.
That's my all-time favorite Iron Maiden song, "Run to the Hills."
Oh, I love it.
And that was a great Bruce Dickinson impersonation you did.
You're too kind, my friend. You're too kind. It's become a little tradition whenever our friend Ron from Ron for the Hills Mining.
That's an awesome name. That's an awesome name. That's another thing too. The YouTube name, Ed. You know, you want to have a name that people are going to remember. Ron for the Hills Mining. You remember that name. You can't say it without singing it.
Oh, I know I couldn't, and that's the first thing I thought of because, like you, that's one of my favorite Maiden songs.
And what a great name! You're going to remember that name over all the other mining channel. I don't know anything about the mining community, but you remember that name. That's why when I picked the Quarter Hoarder name, I wanted something different that you're going to remember. That doesn't sound like everyone else's name.
You know what? That was a question I wanted to ask you too. How did you come up with the name Quarter Hoarder? Quarter Hoarder.
I like quarters. No, I mean, I the very first coin I ever found metal detecting was a bicentennial quarter, and I think it was my wife. I might be wrong. Someone said like, you know, you're going to hoard quarters or something like that. I thought the name was clever. You're going to remember it. It doesn't sound like everyone else's name. You know, it kind of implies metal detecting, but it's not quite. And I just thought it was cool. I like things that are clever. I like not coming out and saying something. I like alluding to things, and you know, it makes it. I don't know. I liked it. I like the name.
Man, it works.
Wig TV asked Jason, what did you do with your AT hat? And another quick one from our friend Diggin with Deej. Was the silver Victorian relic your best silver find, and did it ring up like silver?
My Victorian silver relic. I don't know. I'm not sure what she's referring to.
Neither do I.
Okay. All right. Deej, put it in the chat and I'll look for it. I'm not sure which find you're talking about. And what was the first question?
What did you do with your AT hat?
Let me tell you, Ed. Let me tell you. I love that freaking AT Pro hat. I love it. I love it more than the machine. It just it matched my eyes. You know what I'm saying? I've got a weird shaped face and a head and all that. It takes a special hat to like, you know, that I like the looks on me. But when I switched brands, I didn't want to, you know, I didn't want to keep plugging a brand that I don't use anymore. So I tried to get a hat close to the AT Pro hat without the AT Pro, but I don't like it. So I'm having a hat custom made, my own Quarter Hoarder hat, so that I can always have it. And I would still wear the AT Pro hat. I just, I might even wear it again and just say, look, you know, AT Pro, hey, Garrett, they make great hats. But if you want a great machine, you got to get this one.
You can tell them that their hats fit your point.
It just, it's nice. I like the digital camo look. I don't know. You know, whatever.
You like it. That's all that matters.
I still have it.
Do you have a white whale find?
A white whale find? I don't think I have one. I like anything I've never found before. It's not like there's a specific coin or anything. I mean, there's coins that I'd love to find that I haven't found yet, but there's nothing that I'm like always hoping to find. If I find one day, that's awesome, but I just like anything I've never seen before. And I don't even care if I find it. If my buddy Doug finds it, I'm just as happy to see him find it as if I found it. So I don't have a white whale. I guess because I have low expectations, I always have a good
So let me ask you about that knife thing you found. in your last video. Did you ever figure out what it was? To me, it looked like part of a pair of scissors of some sort.
What thing?
Some piece of metal that looked like a knife blade on it. And it had
A piece of metal that looked like a knife blade.
yeah, it was in your last video. I think it was the last one.
I don't remember. It looked like a knife blade.
Yeah, but it didn't look like a knife because it just really seemed weird to have little.
I don't remember.
I guess you're just gonna have to go back and watch your own videos, huh?
I'll tell you. I'm way ahead of the game on the videos. So when my video comes out on Tuesday, that dig was from like a month ago. So
Okay.
I don't remember. I have to like find a month. You know what I mean? Like, because I don't like going week to week. There's nothing earlier when I started doing the YouTube, man, there's nothing more stressful than like, it's Sunday. I got to have a video come out on Tuesday. If I don't find anything good today, it's going to be all this stress. So I took a week's vacation. Went out every day. I got a whole bunch of videos, and ever since then, I stay 4, 5, 6 videos ahead of the game. So if we have a bad week, doesn't really matter. You know what I mean?
You still got your video.
Right, because I try to make it once a week. I try to be consistent.
Right.
I probably have enough for 2 or 3 a week for 2 months straight, but I don't want to do that because I don't want to have it come right up. I like it to, I like that breathing room.
I'm so behind on edited stuff. That's one good thing about this live show. It's consistent content once a week.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't care. I mean, the channels that put videos out, multiple times a week or every day, those are the channels that really grow.
Oh, yeah. Look at Jocelyn Elizabeth. I think Crazy Lamp Lady puts out a video daily. And
yeah, there's no way I could even do that. And I get it. I mean, if YouTube is your livelihood, if that's how you're paying the bills, well, then that's what you got to do. But for me,
it's your 9 to 5.
Right. But for me, the YouTube thing it's a hobby. I mean, I know you don't like that word, whatever you want to call it.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
I like doing the YouTube and I like the metal detecting almost equally. If I was metal detecting and couldn't film, I'd be really bummed. Or I would never film, if I'm not metal detecting. It's like, oh, look at the birds. I'll put this on YouTube. The two things go together for me. And that's what makes, the hobby I love. The two things together. And as much as a pain in the butt, the hours of editing are, at the end of the day, I enjoy the finished product. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So I get a lot out of it. I enjoy. It's like if you go to the gym, maybe it really sucks that you're like hurting yourself every day, but the next day you're like in the mirror and you're flexing. Then you did it. That's what it is.
Now, Jason. There's times when I'll say, okay, I'm not working today. I'm just digging.
Okay.
I'm just going to shovel and dig or dredge or whatever. But then I end up taking my cameras just in case. But
Just in case.
then I always end up videoing.
Yeah.
And not digging.
I always have the camera with me if I'm digging, always. And believe me, the first day you don't bring the camera is where you're going to find that softball-sized chunk of gold, and you're going to hate yourself. You didn't have the camera.
Yeah, no doubt. One day.
Yeah, I always have it because I like doing it.
Well, actually, Jason, if I were to find that softball size chunk of gold,
we probably
there
wouldn't
will be
show
no
it.
videos.
Well, maybe
There will be no videos. There will be no advertising. You will never know about it.
I got you. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
I found a $1 million thing. I don't know if I'd have a video of it.
Yeah. So, Digging with Deej has a question for you. She tagged you in the chat room.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Jason, it was either a silver compact lid or jewelry box lid. You were in American Digger magazine with it.
Oh yeah, that was an awesome find. That was me. That was me and Kyle, the nickel nibbler. We were at this spot in the woods. There used to be a house there. The house was totally gone, but it did have a big hole in the ground. And in the video, I actually lowered Kyle down. Somehow he just said, "Oh, yeah, I'll go down there." So I lowered him down this hole in a rope. That was great. But outside this hole, I found this silver like a jewelry box lid with a cameo on it of like a
cool.
it was beautiful. Right outside of that cellar hole. That's downstairs in my display case on one of the top shelves. I just love that piece. And when I look at it, I think of the video. I remember the day. I think of lowering my buddy down this hole. I think of all the people that watched that video and yelled at me that the walls could have caved in on him and he could have died. And oh man, Ed, I don't know if you get a lot of hate comments. A lot of hate comments, and they're always fun.
Well, no, I mean, doing this, we don't, because we got such a great moderator. He just boots them out. So,
well, maybe not in the chat. In the chat, you won't get them because you could ban that person. But on the anonymity of the YouTube,
right.
Especially if it's a big video and I get like, there's hundreds of thousands of views. Oh, they come out of the woodwork because those videos, they start to reach outside the hobby to like mainstream, America.
Right.
Are brutal. They're brutal. They really will find any flaw you do and they will bring it up. And I leave every comment in there. I don't delete any of them. I leave them all in there because it is what it is. You hate me, you like me, I don't care. I'm not going to delete it and make it look like there's no hate. There's a lot of hate when you put yourself out there.
Let me see. I forget who asked that. Quarter Hoarder, there is the metal detecting event this June in Toronto. Do you think you could attend?
Attend something?
A metal detecting event in Toronto, Canada.
Oh, is that that Radio World one?
I forget who asked that.
I heard of an event called like Radio something. I think it's Radio World. I think it's in Canada. I don't know. I mean, I might. I don't know anything about that event. I don't know. I go. I'd like to try to go. Let's put that way. I'd like to try to go to a couple of events a year because I like mingling and meeting people and just talking to people. I enjoy it. But at the same time, if I go to an event for the weekend, well, then I don't dig that weekend. And that's my real favorite thing. You know what I mean? So I try to limit it, 2 or 3 a year because it does take away from my normal digging. So
I believe that is Radio World. Liz, the Digging Connect goes to it all the time. Every year, and I believe Bo's been there. Aqua Jigger's been there a few times. I believe Outdoorsy Gallo goes there.
I don't know anything about it. I'd have to see. We were thinking about. Well, I was thinking about. Maybe there's a really big detecting event in England every year, and I thought about going to that, but the Radio World one is a big one. I think they get a big turnout. I don't know. Oh, look, someone said it's in June, every June. It's a maybe. I'm not discrediting it. Maybe I'll get up there. I'd have to see if I can get up there.
Okay. down east detecting and prospecting, our friend Bob Drake from Maine, he was complaining because I missed his question twice. But I thought you said something about it before. Jason, um, tell about the hunt with the 2 flying eagles. Wicked cool vid.
Oh yeah, that was my witch jar video, and
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, that video, that was a crazy spot. I mean, you know, at the time we didn't know what it was, but um, you know, after all was said and done, and we researched the area. What it was it was a this area of the woods that this like witches coven. I know that sounds really weird, but they would meet and do like their witchy religion things. And I don't say witchy religion to disrespect them. I just don't know what you call it. But they would meet there and do their witch things. And part of the witch, I guess, religion or whatever you call it, is they would bury
Beliefs.
jars with different things in it and then say like certain rituals to hope that that spell comes true. And we were finding all of their old spell jars. And at the time when we were there, I didn't realize what it was. I just thought we were finding jars of stuff. I mean, in fact, if I thought it was like a religious area, maybe I wouldn't have dug there. Maybe I would have. I'm not sure. But yeah, so we found these jars, and some jars had really old coins in them. There was the Flying Eagle pennies. That was like a prosperity jar where they bury certain old coins and say some sort of like, ritualistic chants, and they're trying to get prosperity their
Yeah,
way.
I was kind of, Siege kind of touches on it. I was going to ask, do you know if it's Wiccan or do you know if it's black magic?
I
And
don't know, yeah, what kind of witch magic it was, but after we were done, and I didn't even know what it was when I first found it. I put the video up, and the video really blew up on me. I mean, it
Oh,
was
I
like the
bet.
biggest video ever. It really blew up. So, and again, once a video gets really big, it transcends your hobby niche and goes out to the world. So I was getting a lot of comments from witches, like modern day witches,
Wiccans.
and they were answering questions of what they were, what the individual items meant, to them. So
Right.
it wasn't until after the fact that I realized what I'd stumbled on.
yeah,
So
Wiccan is a religion of the earth, Um, they pretty much worship everything. It's, some would call it a form of white magic.
yeah, it might be, but yeah, they were very helpful. And so yeah, we found all these spell jars. A lot of them were broken. I found one whole one that I brought home, and I did a whole video of opening up this spell jar and pulling each thing out. It was a whole fun series I did. And then we even tracked down the witch that buried it. She was still alive, and I went to her house, and I wanted to talk to her because I was just so fascinated.
She didn't hex you, did she?
No, she didn't hex me. It was a whole 3-part series I did, and those videos is kind of what put my channel on the map. They did really well for me.
So did they tell you had to put them back, or did you break any kind of spells, or
Well,
put any spells on yourself by going in there?
Well, I guess I'm one of those people that I don't believe in that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, no, I even though you don't believe it, did you get any comments about that?
well, of course, there's, again, you get a big video, the trolls come out of the woodwork.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, some people were like, oh, you're going to burn in hell for opening that. Whatever. I found a jar in the woods, didn't know what it was. I opened it up. You're not going to open up a jar? Of course I'm going to open it.
Especially with stuff in it.
If I found another one tomorrow, guess who's opening it? Me.
I
No,
would.
but you did. But what I'm asking is because you did say you talked to some Wiccans that were real helpful to you
Yes.
and were serious about it. Did they say anything about that? That would.
Well, they again, they saw the video. So when
Mhm.
they helped me, it was already a done deal. I already found it. I already opened
Right.
it. It was all after the fact that all this information came in. So some of them told me, you should put it back. Some of them were like the weirdest things. So one lady's like, I forget, I'm paraphrasing, but she's like, you should go get a chicken bone and put it in milk. And, I'm doing nothing with a chicken bone. But they were trying to be helpful. You know what I mean? If
Probably tell you how to protect yourself from any bad juju. Oh wait,
right.
that's a different one. That's something else.
But I
Um,
thought the whole thing was fascinating. I loved it. I just thought it was the most interesting thing I ever found. And again, no monetary value. It's just
Right.
who finds a witch's spell jar? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy, and I loved it. I loved it.
Adventures with Purpose, Jared Lasek in no, it was in Seattle, I believe. He pulled up a box that actually was a Wiccan, uh, some type of Wiccan ritual box. It had like a squirrel heart in it and some other
Wow.
stuff and a page from a Bible folded up in it and a bunch of
Mine,
other stuff.
mine was
Um,
similar. I had a Bible pages with bird wings through them. I had a severed raccoon penis in mine, Ed. I
ooh.
mean, who finds raccoon penis? It is. I mean, weird stuff. I didn't have a heart in mine, but if there was a heart in mine, it may have just disintegrated over the decades. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's other ones out there. It's just you got to be. I don't know if you want to say lucky to find one, but they're harder to find. And
So any idea how old they were? How long they'd
it was
been there?
mine wasn't that old. Mine was from like the early '80s. I want to say it was from like '82 when she buried it.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 35 years old or so when I found it. That's why she was still alive when I tracked this one.
So, well, okay, and then the follow up on that, were there older jars? Was that a place that been being used for a while, or just
Well,
their new location?
one of the jars had, like I said, really old coins in it. Now,
Right.
I don't know if those old coins were buried a long time ago or if they were more modern and they buried old coins hoping to get, money. I don't know. But I do think a lot of those religious deist areas are kind of like passed down through the generations, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't be surprised if some of those jars were, who knows, maybe 100 years old,
Mm-hmm.
all like from. I don't think they were that old. I mean, they were in mason jars. So I don't know if mason jars went back to colonial times. So I'm guessing they weren't that old, but maybe 100 years old. I'm not positive. Um, the scariest moment ever is it's probably when I met Doug. I don't know if I ever had a scary moment. I can't think of anything. Now, when I found the witch jar, if anything, I was excited. You know what I mean? I'm finding stuff. That's what I
Yeah,
love.
because you didn't know what it was.
I didn't know
But
what it
that wouldn't have
was.
scared you.
Yeah, it doesn't scare me. Well, you know what was the scariest moment probably ever? I wasn't actually detecting, but after I found the witch jar stuff and the videos came out and I got all the information, and knew what it was, I decided I was going to go to the woman's house, and we tracked her down. I found where she lived. Her house was way back off the road. So I parked on the road and I walked up the way, walk up to her house knowing that, even though I don't believe in it, but knowing she's a witch and she's so into it that she buries things and casts spells and all that. The walk to her house was probably one of the scariest moments in my life. I just didn't know what to expect. You know what I mean? Like, she could have answered the door like, you know, a wizard staff in her hand. You know what I mean? I didn't know what to expect. So that might have been one of the scariest moments of my life, just walking up this person's driveway, because my imagination was going off as I got closer to her.
You scared yourself more than the situation.
Exactly. But no, I had a scary moment detecting, you know, maybe like if a dog ran up on me, that, you know, never really. A couple times people have snuck up on me in the woods. So for a second you're startled. You always kind of grab your knife because you know. But no, I never really had any problems. I mean, knock on wood. Nothing but good things have come out of the hobby, you know, for me.
Our buddy Bill, Ohio Relic Hunter, says Jason walks up the driveway, comes back with a monkey tail.
I was scared to death walking up there, and you know, I only met the woman for like 30 seconds, and it was, the whole thing was super duper creepy. I'll never go back again. We only exchanged like 3 words. She told me to leave. She opened the door. She told me to leave, and she closed the door. But the walk up, waiting as I heard her like fidgeting with the door, was my heart was like up in my throat. You know what I mean? Because I just didn't know. I didn't know what was going to open that door.
Right. You didn't even get a chance to say anything about it. You just.
She opened the door. She said, "Please leave," and she closed the door, and that was it. And,
wow.
and so, like I said, my heart was in my throat every step as I got closer to the house. So, you know, he told me to leave. I was so, I mean, I probably had goosebumps all over me. I was like, forget this. And I didn't say forget. Boom, I was out of there. You know?
Sure enough, later. You wanted to, but you weren't too sure whether you really wanted to.
Right. I was forcing myself to make that walk because I was just so fascinated with, you know, what's this woman, what's her life like? Like, what is, you know, what I wanted to just kind of talk to her. I wasn't even sure what I was going to say, but I wanted to talk to her because I was just so fascinated, you know, other than the witch stuff too. The main jar I opened, the one I opened on its own video, that jar was what it was that whole jar was when Princess, what the heck was her name? Princess, son of a gun, I forget her name. But a princess died in like 82. I can't remember her name right now. But this princess died. She fell off a cliff on her car in Monaco. She was a movie
Princess
star.
Grace?
Yes.
Princess Grace. She was a Hollywood star.
So Princess Grace died, and this jar, what it was a jar to try to help carry Princess Grace's soul like up to whatever the witch's equivalent of heaven is. You know what I mean? It was a good jar.
Right.
So in this jar, along with all these things to try to help Princess Grace's soul cross over, was the night Princess Grace died, this woman, this witch, went outside, and I guess she saw a star in the sky, and she tracked it across the sky and drew a map, like a constellation map, and marked different points on the map of where the star was throughout the night, because she thought it was a chariot carrying Princess Grace's soul across the universe. So in the jar was this folded up map of this constellation that she watched that whole night. And I had like science people email me back and say that when they went back to the night Princess Grace died, and that constellation and the stars she saw really was in those spots throughout the night, which made me kind of think, well, this isn't a total crazy person. Like, she sort of knew what she was doing.
Right.
So it was just fascinating to me. Like, it wasn't just some nut that like dumped things into a jar from her junk drawer. Every piece had thoughtfulness and meaning, even though it meant nothing to me. To her, it was a well thought out jar of these things that she really thought was going to carry this person's soul to the afterlife.
So let me make a little suggestion. Next time you find a jar like that and you find out who the owner was, write them a letter first.
Well, people said that. People said that. I didn't want her to know my address. And if I put a letter with no return address, she'd never be able to get back to me. So I did think about that. I figured, heck with it. I'm going to go knock on the door and roll with the punches. He finds jars wrapped in bandages.
Dimes.
I'm like, dime? Is that a witch thing? Is that what?
Is it any kind of thing?
I've never found a coin wrapped in a bandage, but I would open it up. I wear gloves when I dig. I'd open it right up.
Yes, I was, Brian. Brian asked if I was muted. Yes, I was. I pulled a Toledo Jess.
I'll tell you one thing is, which was kind of disgusting, in the witch jar, along with, like I said, the constellation map and the Bible pages and the raccoon penis, the witch, part of the ceremony is she had to pee in the jar. So there was some of her urine in the jar that over the decades dried up. But, you know, when I opened it, I was only wearing one glove, but I did vigorously wash my hands when I was done. But I didn't know until after the fact that they have to put some sort of bodily fluid in there. There was bones in there. Yeah, it was creepy. It was creepy stuff in there.
Digging with Deej goes, ask Jason if the jars are still in the garage. His wife wouldn't let him in the house, right?
They're not allowed in the house. They are in my garage. I would love to put them in my display case because, like I said, when you look at it, it reminds me of the day. All the feelings come back. I would love to put it in there, but my wife, who's a little more superstitious than me, said it's not allowed to come in the house. So that's out. No, I still have it.
Bob Dip asked a question a little bit ago. How many times has Jason detected a place and have a favorite place to swing? We kind of touched a little on this in pre-show, but
I don't understand the question.
I think he wants to know how often do you go to a spot?
Particular spot, like your favorite spot, somewhere where you know hasn't been hunted out.
Go back to, you know, not very often. Usually, what we do is we go to a spot one day, we dig there all day while it's virgin ground, and then we move on to another spot. If the spot's really killer and we're finding a ton of stuff, we'll go back the next week. And if we find a ton of stuff the next week, we'll go back again. Because we try to, you know, we're trying to make videos here too. So I don't want to, and I'm not saying the spot's, you know, it's hunted out, because it's definitely not. But, you know, for video purposes, I don't want to only find 3 things that were really deep, because that doesn't really make much of a video. We try to get virgin ground every week, new spot. Unless the spot was totally killer, then we'll go back again if we think we're going to find a lot of stuff, on a return trip. And over the years, there's been a couple spots we've gone back to 2-3 times. Just so happens that in the last month has been probably, I'm going to say, our greatest spot ever, that I've gone back to 5 weekends in a row now, because we've pulled out record numbers of coppers and reals, probably almost 300 bucks out of this one spot. It's just been a crazy place. But normally it's one and done and we move on, especially when we're doing houses. We only do farm fields in the winter. Spring, summer, and fall, we're usually doing houses. So I don't want to go back to the same house. We're moving on.
All right. Now, SJ says if she ever finds one, she's sending it to you. And
He's sending me what?
Anything witchy.
Anything.
And Tim said, did you keep the raccoon penis?
I kept everything. Everything went right back in the jar. I filled the jar back up. Raccoon penis, witch pee, everything in the jar goes. I wanted to keep it together.
Now I know the answer to this.
That's kind of superstitious, isn't it?
No, but
Yeah.
I found it that way. I wanted I'm not superstitious, really. Well, that's not true. I'm superstitious about some things. When I go digging, I have certain superstitions that I do. I'm just not superstitious to things that I don't believe in. So, like when I go digging, every time I go, and first hole of the day that I dig, I bury a banana in that hole. If I forget to bring the banana, I feel like, oh man, I'm going to have a crappy day. So I always bury the banana first hole of the day. I'm superstitious that way. I have little things that I do that I'm superstitious about. But when it comes to like the witch stuff, I guess because I don't believe in it, not worried about it at all. Doug wants to know if I added any of my DNA to it. That's for another show, Doug. That's for another show.
Too funny.
There's another one of my digging buddies, Heritage Relic Hunters. That's Charlie. I'm going to give a shout out to him. He's also got a Facebook group that he just started. It's been a while now. So go check him out. Heritage Relic Hunters, Charlie. Awesome dude. Every year it seems to get a little bigger. And then, Charlie and PA Pirate Paul, we started going with them last year. Great guys. A lot of fun to hang around with.
So is there any place that you'd like to go to belly text that you haven't been able to get to?
There's nowhere specific offhand. It's not
if someone come up to you and said, "Hey man, I got a place for you. You can go for a week. It's never been hunted. It's halfway around the world."
Maybe. Maybe it's the problem is sometimes is, like I said, to go by myself, I find it boring. When I find something cool, I got no one to share it with. So on these really far hauls, like there's the one I'm coming up in like a couple months. It's like 7 hours away. None of the guys are going to go. It's too far. So then I don't want to go. I don't go by myself. I don't want to go. What fun is that? Even if I'm finding the best
Thanks for the super chat.
You know what I mean? Like, so I'd have to, if the guys go with me, I'm all over it because I know I'll have a good time. I know I'll have fun.
Gotcha.
So that's the hard part is, you want to go with your buddies so you can enjoy the day. Just as much as the fines. If I got no one to share it with, what's the point?
Right.
I can understand that. It's always fun to go prospecting with your buddies and friends than it is to go out by yourself. Plus, if you get hurt, you're screwed.
That's true.
That's true.
Thank you, Down East Detecting and Prospecting, for the $5 super chat. Much appreciated. Mind if I open up the conference and see if anyone wants to join us?
Don't you have a
Jason?
little mail call to do?
Oh yeah, I forgot to do that, didn't I? I was gonna do that sooner.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen David in here,
No, I haven't either. That's all right.
but I'll do it anyway because I said I would. Let me take
Now I
down
have to
my
watch most of the show.
good. Better comment, David. All right. A lot of you know how Jesse and I feel about Dream Mat. I personally love it. Simplicities is my friend. But he came up with something for the Blue Bowl. Chris Dyer, if you're in here still, I'm gonna be using this in the Blue Bowl I won from you. The videos of it look awesome. I can't wait to try it. And I know Jesse can't wait to get his either.
You know it.
But that goes in the bottom of the Blue Bowl. And you'll see videos about it here in the future on In the Shed with Ed. Thank you very much, David
And
Peterson.
then I'll be doing a video on building a blue ball around it.
Building a blue bowl around it.
Yeah.
Does that thing go in your gold pan, Ed, when you do like this swishing around?
This product here, Jason, is for more when you're in your shop and you bring home your concentrates from out in the field from dredging, high bank, and sluicing.
Okay.
And you're working your fines to collect your fine gold.
I got you.
When you're cleaning out all the black sand.
I got you.
Because our fun don't end at the stream. we come home and we play with our dirt more to get the gold as clean as we can. Get all the black sands, heavies out of it.
Gotcha.
So like with that thing right there, the product that goes into is called a blue ball, and it's like a final cleanup or separate black sands from gold. But it's a really slow process.
Yes.
It can be a very slow process, or you have to do it multiple times fast.
Okay, I got you.
So what this does, this particular piece of urethane, it lets you speed the process up. So you can run a little faster, a little harder, and separate the gold quicker.
Okay.
Your gold will catch in these little pockets at these little vortexes. And I can't wait to use it. I get kind of the blue bowl. It kind of makes like a cyclone thing. It swirls around and moves your material up a funnel and into a hole. Your lights and your gold stays in the blue bowl. And sometimes you have to just mess with the water volume or pressure so you don't have water coming over it. The less material you get in there, the more the water wants to rise. And then if you're not keeping an eye on it, it can be a mess.
Okay.
But I can't wait to try that out, David. Thank you very much.
So now they're out there in the chat room talking about Dano's blue balls.
Yeah, I heard someone about Dano balls and pee and stuff. Oh my god. We should explain that to our friend here, Jason. Dano has these balls now he makes every Christmas season. They're Buckeye balls. They're peanut butter balls dipped in chocolate. And now they're pretty much famous in the prospecting community from coast to coast. And
Daniel's balls.
it's quite a joke in our live chat room a lot of time.
Chocolate ball. All right.
Dano balls. They're tasty though. They're delicious.
And he gives them to you in sacks.
Yep.
They come in a sack.
Oh my goodness. Here we go again on the Dano balls. Oh.
So that's what that is. That's just another accessory to help you separate gold from black sands.
I got you.
But it still all boils down to now at the end you still got to paint it all. You still got to pan. Get some of that stuff out.
Do you find a lot of shark teeth and stuff when you're panning in the streams?
I haven't up here. Only place I've found shark's teeth has been off the coast of Venice Beach, Florida.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'd love to come across a Macedon tooth if I'm down in Georgia or the Carolinas or somewhere like that. That'd be awesome. Or even smaller shark's teeth. Drew, Jocelyn's boyfriend, Drew, I butcher his last name, so I won't even say it.
Waholic.
Thank you. Great guy. I had the pleasure of meeting him and Jocelyn personally at the Buckeye chapter's FOSIC a couple years ago. Got to teach him how pan for gold and let Drew run my sluice for a little while. But I'd love to get out with him either to his button dump sometime or to one of the streams where he finds fossilized sharks. I love fossils. I like rocks, period. If they're a cool rock, I love them. Ron, should I show that or not? Someone did already. Taco balls. See where that got us? Dano's gonna hate that he missed your eagle, though. He got called into work because the garage door fell on someone, and that's just one of the things he has to do sometimes. But he was really interested in that eagle head.
Things he has to do is remove garage doors from people's bodies.
Yeah,
right.
Pretty much. But he wanted to talk about his first find, which was actually like a pewter cane top. It was like a greyhound or something. And that was one of his first finds with his Knox 800. And he wanted to talk to you about the eagle because I know you noticed I used it in the thumbnail for the show. So
it's one of my favorite pieces. I love it.
Oh, I can understand why with the history behind it too.
And I didn't know what it was. I thought it was a cane topper. I put it on Facebook, loving it.
That was my first thought.
And then luckily this community is really good. They other people recognized what it was, and then I took that and ran with it, and found out where it came from and all that stuff, and made it even better.
Right. So we got another question here from Liz, Digging with Deej.
Okay.
Have you ever donated finds to a museum?
Well, yes and no. I mean, we've donated stuff to the local historical societies.
Uh-huh.
I have one piece that I donated to a museum. Years ago, I dug it was a railroad cotter pin. What it was a piece of iron about, like this big. I'm moving back. It's like maybe 3 feet long. It looked like a big penis is what it looked like. Really, it was huge. It was shaped like that. But what it was back in like the 1860s.
Hell, you're holding it like one.
One train would have to back up to it, and you had to squeeze in between and put this cotter pin into the two couplers so that they would back together. And people would get crushed. You would lose your arm. It was incredibly dangerous. And this old coupling pin was a real early one from like 1860 or something like that. And I mailed that. It took about a year. I mailed that to some train museum in Chicago. Again, saw the video and reached out to me. And I figured, you know what? I love looking at it, but that's a much better place than, you know, my thing. So, no, I've never been out to the Chicago Museum. I don't even know what it's called. I have to look up the email. But hopefully they have it like on display, you know, somewhere like that.
Yeah, that would suck if you donated it and they put it in a box and stuck it in the back room.
Well, that's the one problem is, you know.
That happens, though.
It happens a lot. And a lot of, you know, metal detectors get a bad name from archaeologists because they think that we're robbing the ground of all these things. But that's exactly what an archaeologist does. They would go in, they'll find things. They'll write a log book of everything. But you know what? They all go in boxes and they go into some basement for 40, 50 years and never see the light of day again. So you know what? Heck with you guys. You know, at least I'm putting them out on the internet so the whole world can at least see them. They're not just hid from one dark cavern to another dark cavern. So, you know, we have donated things to, you know, local historical societies. We give a lot of things back to the homeowners if it ties to the house or to the family, things like that. So yeah, you know, if it applies, we would. Not every museum wants, you know, something that, you know, you can't make some direct connection to.
Right. Yeah, I imagine it would have to fit into their niche, whatever their museum is about.
Right. I mean, you know, like as cool as this pommel head is, you know, if I gave this to the local historical society of the town I found it, well, it has no meaning to that town necessarily. You know what I mean? So I don't know if it would get appreciated. If it said on there, like, you know, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, well, then, you know what? Hey, that makes sense.
That would probably fit better in some kind of saddle museum.
Yeah, exactly. Like if it was something that it could tie to, I think that's really cool.
Now, I think that's just really cool nonetheless that you have that you found that.
And talk about going back to a spot where I found this. This spot was a spot that we had detected probably 20 times before. Whenever people came up to the area, we would take them there because we knew we wouldn't find a whole lot. But if you do find something, it was old. So, you know, we had friends come up and visit us from Missouri for 3 days. The first 2 days, we took them to brand new ground spot, and they kicked some butt and found incredible things. But day 3, we didn't have another, you know, groundbreaking spot. So we went to a spot we've already been to, and, you know, all the times we've been there before and countless detectorists, this thing was missed. And so, you know, no spot's ever hunted out, but you always like to try to get on a spot that's as virgin as possible. But it's there. I mean, it just got missed by, I don't even know.
Everybody else, right?
Everybody. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, just like I know I'll find that golf or that softball-sized chunk of gold here somewhere because I want to put my shovel where no one else has put it.
I hope you do.
Me too.
Gold coin.
I'd love to find a gold coin just as much as a gold nugget.
Oh, yeah. I love a gold coin.
I'd like to find one just to cross it off my list, but I'm not holding my breath.
You do have a list.
Well, I mean, I have a list of things that I've never found that it would be nice to find. But it's not like I think about every time I go out, oh, today's my gold coin. You know, like if it happens, it happens.
Right.
I don't look for it. You know, the thing with a metal detector is gold typically is a terrible signal. It's not a signal that you're looking forward to, you know. So guys that find those small gold coins, they're digging a boatload of garbage to get that, because it's a signal that screams at dig me, dig me. It's a trashy, garbagey signal. So if you're digging for gold, you're digging a lot of trash. So you almost like the mindset of deal with the trash and hope you get that gold.
See what else we got here. Bob Zip says he offers his finds to local town museums. On the grounds, they display it with what information of where it was found.
Yeah, yeah. I guess he means like the local historical societies.
Right.
Have one. Yep.
Jigologist says gold and 3 ringers, same sound and number on my AT Max.
Oh, okay. I would have thought the 3 ringers would have came up much higher. I've never dug a 3-ring bullet because they don't really have them up this far north. But I thought on my machine, lead comes up higher than gold would. But I don't have an AT Max.
You will one day, Chrissy.
One day.
I think I'd much rather find like a Hudson Bay Company token or something if I was Chrissy than a gold coin. Or
Jigologist says it hits 67 to 69.
The 3-ring bullets
and gold.
Oh wow! When I swung the AT Pro, a gold coin. When I say gold coin, I mean the ones you're probably going to have a chance to find, which are like the 20s and teens, the Indians, the little $1 and $2.50 coins.
Right.
They were like in the 20s, which is a terrible, terrible signal. So maybe that 60s is a bigger piece of gold.
Cornelius.
He's looking for a pine tree.
Digologist 24 equals 71. I think on my Goldbug Pro, gold is 41. But every machine's different, right, Jason?
Yeah, yeah. Usually gold is a low tone, but if you have a gold machine, then maybe it interprets it differently, gives you a different signal.
Right.
But your gold bug, and that runs on a high frequency because gold, you want that high frequency to catch this gold. On my machine, gold comes up much lower because I'm not looking for it. So it's almost, my machine hears it, but it comes in a much lower tone.
Right. And Digologist asked, I know the answer to this, but he said it a while ago, and thank you, Digologist, for picking up a Flashing Your Fan ball cap a while back. Has Jason jumped on the Equinox bandwagon? Well, Dano and I have. So.
No, I do own an Equinox, but I don't use it. I actually found a machine I like better, which is the Amphibio. I have an Equinox. I'm not knocking it, but I personally, I didn't care for it. Right out of the box, I thought the shaft was real flimsy and wobbly, and I thought, man, for $900, the shaft really cheap. I don't know. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So I never really picked on the Equinox. I do have one. I prefer the Amphibio. That's the machine I've been using for maybe 3 months or so now, and I really like it.
Now,
works for me.
And since you said that price range, I assume you have the 800.
No, I have the 600. I was assuming you had the 800.
That's what I have, right? I got $100 off of it from a good friend of our channel. but
Okay.
still, nonetheless, it still ain't cheap. I
No.
got it because of the prospecting mode on it, but right after a friend of our channels and Jesse and our friend Andy O'Neill was selling simplexes for like a third of the cost, and I'm like,
Yeah, I have a Simplex also. That's a great machine. Probably the best machine in that price range on the market today. I mean, unbelievable for the price what you get for it. Um, you know, great machine, totally submersible, wireless headphones, multiple detecting modes you can put it in, backlight, headlight that shines down your core. You can hunt at night. Um, good depth on it, and for $300 with the headphones, just insane. I think it's better than the AT Pro that costs almost twice as much.
Now here's a question. I have a feeling you won't really know because it ain't your type of detecting. Uh, but our friend Brian from Maine, or actually Mass, he's a masshole, but he ain't an asshole. Um, Brian from American Gold Prospectors says, "What do you think is better for gold, the Knox or the Gold Monster?"
I'm not familiar with the Golden Monster. I'd have to see what frequency it runs off of. Typically, if you're looking for gold, especially the gold you guys find, which are going to be tiny, tiny nuggets, you want to get a really high frequency machine. I think the Equinox, the highest of the three frequencies it uses is what, a 20? That sound right?
I don't know.
I think it's a 20. I think if you have the 800,
Let me get in my book.
I think if you have the 800, it has a 40 megahertz frequency. So if you want the highest frequency, it's why a lot of those gold detectors, like the Gold Monster and the Gold this and the Gold that, usually they're really high frequency machines, like a 20 or above. And then, machines like I use, kind of look for gold specifically, they run on a lower frequency, like maybe in the teens. So, Down East Detectives put up there 20 on the 600, 40 on the 800.
Right.
So a 40 megahertz frequency on the 800 is really good for gold, but I don't know what frequency that Gold Monster runs off of because that's not really my type of treasure hunting. If Gold Monster's 40 also, they're probably really similar because if you're looking just for gold, I wouldn't run Equinox in multi. I would run it in 40 because you might not want to be hitting non-gold items. I don't know what you guys, how you would do it. Are you either looking for gold or you're not, or are you looking for gold and anything else that comes down the pike? I don't know.
Well, in our area, since like nuggets aren't as common as say in Bedrock Bennett's area, he's in the mother lode of California,
Okay.
or up where Brian is in Maine, even though he says there's no gold there, but we all say that there's no gold there. I look for heavies, like either black sands, which will give a signal, or bob wire and stuff, because where the heavy man-made material or black sands drop out, gold will drop out close or in the same area. So,
Okay.
that's what I would use my detector more for, looking for the pay streaks of black sands or heavy pockets. And a lot of times it's a pocket of bob wire, but I've found some decent flakes and stuff in with that bob wire, other heavy man-made indicators, as I would call them.
Yeah, someone just said that the gold bug runs 71
or 74.
No, maybe they're right. I don't know. Is that the Fisher Gold Bug? I didn't think it ran that
Yeah,
high.
Fisher Gold Bug.
It runs on a 71. I'm trying to look it up, but I can't. I mean, that would be an ideal machine for I guess for gold. I mean, that's why they call it that. Like the Garrett AT Max and the gold came out around the same time, the Pro and the gold. And the big difference is that the AT Gold runs at a slightly higher frequency, so it would be, slightly better for gold than the AT Pro would. But I don't think I would consider it a gold prospecting detector, where maybe that Fisher Gold Bug really is.
Now Bennett, that guy is the nugget machine, man. Bedrock Bennett.
Oh,
He's seen nuggets come out that sound like trash. So
oh,
I guess for a relic hunter, the same would be true for a nugget shooter. I'm sure like Bill, the nugget shooter and shooterette would feel this way, dig everything.
well, I'm only guessing because I've never hunted for gold. But like I said, on the machines I've used in the past and the one I use now, like a small gold coin would sound terrible. Like a 20s, a high 20 signal, which most people probably wouldn't dig unless you're looking for gold, because you're going to be digging just garbage all day long. So that's why I don't always dig those signals unless the ground we're at happens to be really clean, like not a lot of garbage, and then I'll dig all those signals to try to look for little buttons and things like that. So no, I believe it. I would think a little nugget, a tiny one, even on a gold machine, probably sounds scratchy and jumpy, and you got to kind of chase things and hope for the best. But again, that's just a guess. I've never done it.
Well, like I say, you just practice with the machine until you learn what it does. I'm certain stuff. Practice.
Yep. You hear that little blip, that little, scratchy sound. Maybe you're thinking, oh, it could be it. I'm gonna go for it.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
What, Jesse?
Bill O'Halrock.
Oh, Bill.
Yeah.
Number 2 shovel runs on 12 ounces per hour. Oh, I'm sure you know who.
So his frequency would be 12 ounces an hour. Okay.
Yep. You're too funny, Bill. Oh, man.
Yep. Well, we're getting about that time, Ed.
Yes, sir.
Doesn't look like we'll be doing a raid tonight either.
It's snowing where I am.
It is.
Yeah, it's snowing. We're only supposed to get like 2 inches or so. And then I'm looking at the weather. Saturday, which is my dig day, it's supposed to be 65 degrees. It might be an all-time, but right now it's snowing.
Pretty weird weather this year.
Yep. All I care about is Saturday's weather.
We've only had one day of winter here where I'm at.
It's been really mild. I mean, it's been cold, but the ground was almost frozen one day, but it kind of thawed out. It's been pretty mild.
It has.
Well, from now the 2 days I've been sick and stayed home, the weather's been ideal for my type of work. I'm in construction, Jason. And right now, instead of having nice, cushy inside finish work to do, I'm swinging steel on steel buildings.
Wow.
That's cold.
I've been starting the job at 6:45 in the morning and driving about a half hour, but fortunately tomorrow, my job, I could walk there. And I don't start until 7:45, but the weather's supposed to start going downhill, and it was beautiful out today and yesterday, at least what I seen through my window when I got out of bed. But hopefully it ain't too bad, because if it starts raining and thundering, we're not going to be swinging steel. And if it gets too windy, we can't. And that's one screwed thing about construction. I should have listened to my teachers more.
Yeah, you guys are out there in the elements. That's rough.
Good night, HD. Now, here at 10 o'clock, which is right around the corner, we'll do a flash raid over at Video Call-In Show. If Jim's live, I don't know. I haven't seen no notices, but Jaren, if you could get a link over to Video Call-In Show. Jason, I threw the link out there several times. We had no one calling in tonight, which that's cool. I had a great time nonetheless. Thank you for returning to the show.
I'm glad we got to finish it this time.
Oh yeah, definitely. I really enjoyed all your tales and your little bit of treasure porn. Maybe in a year or so, if we get you on again, have more of your treasure porn with you. We all like looking at treasure.
Oh yeah.
I'll have to have some. I'll bring some up. I know it's always tough when you're like holding things up to the camera. I'll have to. We'll figure out. I'll send you pictures beforehand.
No worries. They all understand. We'll get it straight somehow.
Everybody. You see what Bob says? You see what Bob said down East prospecting? So he wants his $5 back. We made him miss Curse of Oak Island.
Oh, bummer.
They
found wood.
I'll give you a spoiler. They still haven't found anything.
Yeah, they found wood, wet wood.
Wood.
Oh, okay.
Bedrock Bennett, dig everything. You'll learn something every signal. Good night, guys. Good night, Bennett and Loose Brother. Everybody, thank you for joining us tonight with our great guest, return guest, Jason, the Quarter Hoarder. As always, thank you, Toledo Jess. Hope your knee feels better, PDQ.
I got to get it better before we start digging again.
That's for sure. I really enjoyed it too, Deej. The return time without the trolls was totally awesome, even though I enjoyed the first time immensely also. Jason, you're more than welcome here at the home of Flash in Your Pan anytime. You are a member of the Flash fam. And
you bet.
That reminds me, send me your mailing address over Facebook, and I'm gonna send you out some stuff.
Awesome. I'll take it.
Excellent.
Me too. Looks like no show for Jim tonight again, Ed.
No show? Okay.
No show.
Well. It is what it is, but I'm sure Jason has to wake up early like the rest of us, excluding Toledo Jess.
That's right.
Thanks again, everyone, for joining us. May you always have a flash in your pan.
And you know what he's going to say next.
That's right, because I say it every week. Maybe one day, too, you'll meet us on the river or in the yard, field, wherever the case may be. Good night, everybody. Thank you, and God bless.
Good night, everybody.
5,
Bye, guys.
4, 3,
Good night, Jason. Good night, Ed.
Have a good
John boy.